Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Haley and I go by Imagine Zero Sims here on YouTube. I always do these so fast. Sorry, Kendall. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about Harry Potter. And I think I might be doing my makeup again. So it's gonna be a little informal, as are all my videos, to be honest. So yeah. I just want to start this by saying I do not support J.K. Rowling in any way, shape, or form. If you want to learn more about why she's kind of bad, look it up on Google, search on Twitter, you'll find something. I found a couple things I don't really want to go into too much because my information, some of it may not be 100% right. And also, I just don't really want to talk about that. So yeah, let's get started. Okay, and if you haven't read Harry Potter and you plan to and you don't want spoilers, I would step out of it now. I would leave the video. I'll give you a couple of seconds. Okay, now that all the spoilery people, all the non-spoiler people are gone, we can start talking about it. I guess I'll just start by saying I originally wasn't planning on reading Harry Potter, and then my friend recommended it to me. I read the first book, she wanted it to me, and then I read the second half of it, or rather the half of the second book, and I didn't really like it, and so I stopped reading it. But then in the summer, during quarantine, I picked it back up, or after quarantine rather. It was after quarantine because yeah, I went to my library and I got them out. And I started reading them. I read all of them. This is a couple days after I read all the books. I just want to talk about everything, and this will also be Moiler movie spoilers as well. So if you plan on watching the movies as well, I would also get out. Yeah, so I guess let's start talking about it. I just want to say, just one thing that I didn't really like is that I was definitely emotionally attached, but I'm very like emotional person. So like in books I read, I usually end up crying when sad things happen, and I know like I didn't cry. I know it's not necessarily a bad thing, but I just found it a little odd that I didn't cry. Usually I do, and I know that some of the parts, like obviously characters died, and I was just like, okay, it didn't really bother me too much, which is interesting because I usually get like really emotional, and I think it's because in the books, like Harry just kind of brushes, like J.K. Rowling, she's like kind of brushing over it, and like Harry just like never really acknowledges it much. It just kind of states that it happens and then it moves on. Like sometimes, you know, with Fred, it was kind of sad with, I'm pretty sure it was Fred that died, yeah. And then with the Weasleys and stuff, but it didn't make me cry. Because he's always like, I have stuff to do. And honestly, I know like people die in these books, but they were really honestly bright and uplifting, and like they're good books to read. If like, because I had just read like a really like sad dark book before I read these called Ninth House, and it was really just nice to have something good and uplifting and younger to read. So like I very much did like that. And then we could talk about characters, I guess. You know, I like Harry a lot. I think he's very Gryffindor-esque. Like, you know, he's very brave, and I really do like Neville as well. I hate Wormtail and Bellatrix. Boldy doesn't do much. I call him Boldy because Boldy's moldy. Moldy's moldy. Anyway, yeah. And I really like Hermione. I know it's like, haha, but honestly, I kept finding like, oh my gosh, she's like saving the boys, you know? Like I kept finding that she was just super smart, and she kept having to save the boys, and they all make sacrifices, you know? And I really admired Ron and Hermione for sticking with Harry through everything, you know? Obviously Ron did leave in Deathly Hallows, but he came back as Voldemort, as Dumbledore knew he would. And let's talk about Voldemort now that we're here. I don't like Voldemort. Dumbledore, you know? I feel like he was a good kid, you know? At the beginning, I was like, oh, he's fine. He's just a headmaster. But then I realized, like, oh, he's really power hungry. And, like, I don't know. I just kind of felt like he was just using Harry the entire time and didn't so much care about him in the end, which is, probably not the best feeling, but, you know, it is what it is. Now we can talk about Snape. I personally didn't like Snape and I still don't. I just think his redemption, I just didn't do it for me because I still felt like, oh, he's just obsessed with Lily, you know? And I didn't really enjoy that, you know? Let's compare Snape to James, because, you know, James's Patronus compliments Lily. It's not Lily's Patronus, but it compliments Lily's Patronus, right? And, like, he cared about her. He loves her, you know? They love each other. It's not unrequited. She loves him back and he loves her, you know? Obviously, he's left her for longer, but he just kept shooting his shot. You know, he wasn't forcible. You know, he cared about her, you know, more. And I'm sure he would have been fine if she ended up with anyone else, you know. Obviously, you know, he just wanted what was best for her, whatever Lily wanted, whatever was going to make her happy, right? And I think that's why he kept shooting his shot, because, you know, he really cared about her and he loved her so much, you know. But on the other hand of Snape, right? Like, Snape just got super jealous and, like, he just wanted to be with her. And, you know, when he found out the prophecy, he was like, you know what, protect Lily. He didn't care about her, care about her feelings. He just wanted her. You know, he was like, oh yeah, let the kid die and let James die. Like, I don't care. I just want Lily to survive. You know, and that was the reason why he didn't stop becoming a Death Eater. Like, that was the reason why. And I just don't think that was good enough. I just don't think that makes him a good person. You know, he was just so in love with this one girl. You know, he was obsessed. And his Patronus, you know, I never got to talk about that. His Patronus, it doesn't compliment her. It is her Patronus. He's obsessed. Like I said, you know, he's obsessed. And that his Patronus is proof of that. You know, it doesn't compliment her. It is her Patronus because he's so obsessed. And, you know, he doesn't care about Harry, and he bullies Neville, and Lily wouldn't have liked that, and he calls her a mudblood, which is like a slur. This is not okay. You know, James is obviously extremely offensive, you know, calling someone a mudblood, you know, and he did it anyways, even though he knew if it hurt her feelings and it's derogatory, you know, but he did it anyway. I just think that kind of shows the difference between their characters. And, like, you can all go with, oh, James was a bully, but was he? Was he actually a bully? Like, I get it. We can say that he bullied Severus, but Severus went around torturing mudbloods. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he was friends with Death Eaters. Like, there was their little Death Eater club that they went around and they bullied mudbloods. You know, it just so happens that James, Sirius, and Remus, you know, they kind of just bullied him too. Like, it wasn't bully, it was a rivalry. And that is what makes them different. You know, when Snape, he's such a child throughout the whole story, you know? He just bullies Neville. Neville's going to spear with Snape. You see? You know? Even though he knew, like, his parents' torturer, it was still Snape. And that speaks a lot about his character. Then we can go and we can talk about, sorry, I'm going to move you. We can talk about, sorry. We can talk about how Lily would not have wanted him to bully her child. Or he could have warned them, you know? Also, like, he did not deserve the redemption arc. You know who did? Draco. You know Draco? He was a kid. And in the books, he was kind of bad. I'm not gonna lie, like, I did not particularly enjoy him. But in the movies, he's not as bad. Neither is Snape in the movies, but I would say he's really bad in the books. Not me. Just spreading it around. Yeah. Let's talk about James Lily Remus. I love, and Sirius. James Lily Remus and Sirius. Oh, Lily too. James and Lily. Okay, well, let's talk about James, Sirius, and Remus. I love them. I always have. I always will. The Marauders are... I love the Marauders. I really do. I just think that they were incredible. And I really, really liked them. Like, I really enjoy enjoyed the parts about the Marauders. I thought that they were very fun, and I really do like them. And even if we're talking about that scene where I guess Sirius ends up leading him into the Shrieking Shack because he was being really nosy about it, you know, and it, again, that's one of Remus's flaws, one of the things that he probably shouldn't have done, but again, we can look at, he was young, and he didn't really know what he was doing, and he changed, and he definitely probably changed, maybe a little bit, maybe not. I mean, he obviously really got after, not necessarily about Snape, but about Remus, having him maybe being exposed and almost killing someone. I think he felt bad about that. Which is, you know, debatable on if he's a good person. Yeah, oh, Sirius is a good person. And I think that we can really talk about how, you know, he was doing it because Snape was being so nosy, and he was following them around too. Like, I bet you he was like trying to figure out what they were doing at night, and it's like, it's none of your business. The teachers were probably aware, and if they weren't, then they weren't. Like, oh well. And that's that, you know? It's not your place to be snooping around other people's business. And obviously, James obviously saved his life, and he didn't need to do that. He could have let him die. And it wasn't his fault that he was there. You know, I think, and that shows the difference between James and Snape, is that he did save his life. He didn't have to. And I think Snape could have saved James' life. You know, he could have told them. Or told, you know. And Peter betrayed them. And that's probably one of the worst betrayals. I think that really just hit home because they trusted him, you know, and they didn't trust Remus as much as they did him. And I mean, obviously, they should have trusted Remus. And it's their, you know, it's their problem that they didn't. You know, they paid for it, didn't they? But I felt like they should have trusted Remus, but they trusted Peter. Well, they trusted Sirius, and then Sirius, he felt that it wouldn't have been good enough. And, you know, that caused that. We can talk about Hermione. I feel like she's keeping the boys alive every second. You know, I think without them, they probably would have been dead from the first book. They would have been, the potions part. They needed her. And Ron, I think he was not just comedic relief, he's brave, and they need him sometimes too. Wizarding chess is fantastic. Sorry, there's a mirror like right behind you, so if I keep looking back. Okay, let's talk a little bit more, and then I think I might head off. I don't have any more makeup in my room, so actually I do. I think that another really important thing to talk about is Neville. I really liked Neville. I think he was really fantastic in the Sorcerer, the snake, Nagini, what her name is, that Voldemort had. I thought that was really sweet. And I love the Remus and Tonks scenes. Sorry. When he was like, I'm not good enough for you, you know, you need someone better. And then she was like, and then it was like the hospital scene with Will. I loved that. I loved that scene. I really did. One of my favorites. I'm trying to think about more Golden Trio moments. I like Hermione just like being like, what are you guys doing? Like, honestly. And her being more reluctant. Because that's her character. That's who she is. I'm going to link my TikTok in the description. So check that out. I have some Hermione cosplay. I might actually do a video or two right after this. I don't know. It might not be Hermione. It might be other stuff. I have an OC that I started. Check that out, I guess. Sorry if this video is kind of long, but also I'm just like not really talking about much. If you would like another Harry Potter video, honestly, let me know and let me know what you want me to talk about. If this video is not over, I'm just saying. Anyways, moving back to talking about Harry Potter. She says she's a lady, and I'm just a line without her. Anyway, I watched The Queen's Gambit today. It's a really fun show. I finished it in 2 days. I very much enjoyed it. My eyes are green. I have blue eyes. Anyway, so now that we're talking about Harry a little bit, self-sacrificing, you know, it's cool, I guess. It is what it is. The prophecy could have been actually talking about Neville, but Voldemort chose Harry. Very interesting. Sorry, I'm not talking. I'm concentrating because I can't get my eyelids. I have another like darker color. I don't do my makeup too often. If you couldn't tell, it's not perfect, but I think it'll do the job. Okay, let's talk about we could talk about Lily. I guess we could talk about the names that Harry and Liam just gets. Oh my god. Albus Severus. You already know how I feel about Dumbledore too. Or did I speak about him? I just think he was using Harry like the entire time, and I don't like that he like planned for him to die and Harry didn't know. You know, I just don't think that was right. And I think he should have told him or done something, like, you know, instead of just leaving him totally in the dark. I just don't think that was right to just kind of leave him, like, totally in the dark like that. I just don't think that was right. It just didn't sit right with me. And I just, like, why would he name it Albus Severus? Why? What would compel him to do that? Like, honestly, why? Any name but Albus, like Rubius, and like I like Lily Luna. In my book, it's for Luna because he was such a good friend and she helped him so much, you know. And I think that would be fine. And, you know, Jenny was good friends with her, like, that's cool. And James. And then they obviously left Lupin for Teddy, and Luna could be after Lupin, because Lupin and Luna, like, I don't know, maybe, but also for Luna. And then Lily, obviously, for Harry's mom. And then was it James? What's his middle name? I can't remember. And I love like Hermione's kids and Hermione and Ron. Like that's so cute. I was hardcore shipping them the entire series. But Harry like doesn't notice that stuff. Like I would like a book from like someone else's point of view. Because he's kind of clueless. Like all the time. That's interesting. And then I'm not gonna put on bronzer. I don't usually, and I don't like to do that, so yeah. And I don't know, I just kind of weird, like Albus Severus, like I do, even with the pensive and stuff, like his father was a good man, and I don't, you know, Harry James, I sometimes forget his middle name is James. I love like all the Marauder and like McGonagall fanfic stuff, like that's so cute. Or like the, you know, the fanon stuff. A lot of fanon stuff I think is like true, like Wolfstar. That is, I ship Wolfstar so hard, it's not even funny. My hair is greasy today. Looks like I washed it yesterday. Looks like I didn't. It was soaking wet. I actually have a... Sorry, I'm just going to get all the books in the background. Shh, don't talk about that. Don't talk about all the books. You can do it like... Oh my god, Narcissa's hairstyle. I don't hear being saved by like a mother's love like 24/7. Honestly, we couldn't like even talk about like Molly. That even, you know, obviously him when he, you know, when he was saved from Voldemort by Lily's sacrifice, and then by Narcissa's love for Draco, she would, you know, defy the Dark Lord for him. That's another thing, which I think was very interesting. Her like crazy love for Draco. You know, we kind of think about the Malfoys as being cold-hearted, but then you see like Narcissa like sacrificing everything for her son. And I think that that was really interesting that we got to see that. I think that that's where we could have had some kind of Draco redemption. We know that they kind of just ran out of the battle. Like so would I. They didn't have wands. What were they gonna do? You know, they were screaming for Draco in the middle of a battle with no wands, and not only was the Dark Lord after them, so was the other side. So I don't really think it was the smartest thing to do, but the mother's love, you know, they really care about Draco, and I think that was really interesting to see. Obviously, we know that Lucius was not a good guy, and that you can't say that he was, but we can tell that he did somewhat care about Draco, maybe in his own way. I think that's kind of interesting to think about, and I think that Draco, I think Snape was a really complex character, and I think he's interesting to analyze and to look at, like, oh, he's really complex. But again, like I said, I don't like him in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, I think that this is where we're gonna end this. If you want some kind of part 2 or anything, comment. Channel name suggestions, comment that as well. But everyone has a wonderful day, and I hope to see you all very soon. Like, comment, subscribe, do all those, turn your notifications on, do all those fun YouTube things. Like I said, I'll see you guys soon. Bye, everybody.